Alright guys, subscribe back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to VALORANT News and a major day in the VCT yesterday. Sentinels, after falling short to FaZe in unbelievable fashion, some of the rounds they lost are simply beyond belief. We shall dive into here over the coming minutes. But that means that not only are they out of playoffs contention, but possibly for the rest of the season as well. What does that mean for the remainder of this team? So many questions to dive into. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really does help out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Plenty, as I say, to discuss. Firstly, of course, want to mention real quick the EMEA side, what's been going on over there. Of course, we've got a couple more games to come up today in EMEA and North America, and then a lot of these groups are kind of, well, at least in EMEA, kind of set in stone what we might expect to happen. These are the scheduled games. So last night, Big took down M3 Champions 2-0. That was quite an incredible result, right? That really well puts a spanner in the works over of that Group B. M3 Champions former Gambit. They were certainly favourites to make a run out of this group, but all of a sudden you lose a series like this, and it's very much up in the air once again. FPX took down OG London. That puts them in a very difficult spot. I believe that team, the whole OG London United idea was probably to try and say to right, okay, look, we're combining forces, we're doing all this type of stuff, we're going to be a good pick for the franchise league or the partner league that they're coming up with next year. And that is being the big underlying discussion of everything that goes on right now. If your team is not qualifying for playoffs, not qualifying for LCQs, not qualifying for Masters, and also doesn't have incredible sponsorships, and maybe there's decent content there, right, but maybe the revenue streams or the consistency isn't there, what is right going to think about the potential of that organization as a franchise partner, especially if there's not all that many of them, right? And that's the question about Sentinels right now. If there are only 10 teams for each regional league, as the kind of current rumor might potentially have it, then there's only going to realistically be 6 or 7 teams maybe from North America, of which Sentinels might have a very hard time getting in. OG London also might have a really hard time to prove they're worth it based on their performances lately, but of course it's kind of more than performances that they consider here, I suppose, if you're right at kind of picking your partners for next year. At least that is the going rumor. We're going to get a situation like that. BBL Guild focus Fnatic to finish out the season today, or finish out the stage. This is Group A then. So Group A is very clear cut now. Fnatic, FPX and Ascends, they've got 3 wins. They can't be touched. That's just how it's going to be effectively. Now Group B, with M3 Champions now 2-2, that puts them in a very spicy position, especially, okay, let's say Guild today, they come out and take down BBL. They go to 4-0. M3 Champions still in an okay position, but it's going to be far from easy because 2-3 tiebreakers are certainly on the cards at this point. A Big, despite being 0-3, taking down M3 Champions, certainly makes things rather spicy in that groupie indeed. Let's talk about the Sentinels FaZe series then. So of course in this series, Sick of course stepping out to attend to an ongoing family matter, as was described here a couple of days ago. So Raucus comes in, as we'll see here in a few minutes time. Zombs explaining exactly why. He asked the team to compete, and well, he wanted to. He was like, okay, I'm down to, but they effectively denied it, wanted Raucus in the team instead. And of course, well, there's many explanations and reasons that you might go into on that front. But of course, this was a must-win series. If they wanted to qualify for the playoffs, they needed to win this one and beat Cloud9, and if they did that, probably things would have fallen in their favour. And it's kind of a shame in a way, because it felt like Sentinels did improve. They definitely looked better in this series than they have done for quite some time, but of course couldn't execute quite what they wanted to. Of course, with the substitutes, it's never going to be so ideal in a series like this, and maybe with their full team, they actually make some sort of run here, but of course, definitely unfortunate circumstances. Some says, you still have no chance versus Raucus, good luck. Didn't really work out in that way. FaZe end up taking the game 1 here. Close forward affair, Sentinels put up a fight, but again, when push comes to shove, it does seem like FaZe just had a bit too much for Sentinels in this series, and some of the rounds that we'll see in a second, the Sentinels managed to lose, especially on the Haven. If they'd have won the Haven, who knows what happens in this series. The thing is, right, the only map that Sentinels won at this entire main event is, well, they won no maps against any teams other than the one that TenZ dropped that 40 on me, guys might remember, on the Breeze. TenZ dropped 40 for the win. That's the only map that Sentinels won this entire stage. And some maps, every single map you win is important, because tiebreakers, map count is a deciding factor, right? So losing every one, regardless of the situation, was not ideal for them. Superman just gets absolutely gunned here by ShahZaM, but doesn't matter for the round. FaZe managed to take it down. And this was, I think a lot of you guys have probably seen this already, but this was the key round, really. That, if you took away the the overlay here, right, and you took away the player names, and you took away the commentary, you'd probably think this round was played by Silvers, or maybe in gold or something like that, right? Just look how this plays out. So Sentinels win a 4 versus 4. They're in a perfect situation. They've got 4 alive. It's a thrifty on the other side of things. They've only got pistols and shorties, and it seems like an impossible retake, really. But effectively, for some reason, Sentinels all go back here to the end of the kind of C street. They keep no one in the sight, which maybe isn't the worst idea in the world in some situations, but when the smokes come through, just watch how this plays out, right? All the guys are stuck behind this smoke, and FaZe just hop on the bomb, right? And everyone's trying to spam through this smoke to try and kill him off the bomb. Look how pathetic this is. They're all just trying to chuck stuff through, and they do kill a couple of guys with the smoke, but the bomb gets defused anyway, and Superman just defuses it and runs away, and he's like, well, thank thank you very much for that one. Like, we'll take the thrifty rounds. And there were another few rounds in a similar vein, to be honest. Like, Sentinels still after that one, fair play to them. They kind of regained and they bounced back to a 6-1 advantage. But like, you know, it could have been 7-0, could have been better than that. They could have been on the verge of a third map really within just a few rounds. But that thrifty, like, you know, definitely didn't throw them off initially, but meant that when the kind of push came to shove as the game went down to the wire, that Sentinels didn't have the extra round that they needed. babybay did a 360 right there to get the game to 6-3. And all of a sudden, it's a very close fought affair. 12-11 here in favor of, well, Sentinels still, and it kind of TenZ does his best, but it doesn't work out. And FaZe tie this series up, or tie the map up at 12-12, and go on to win a crazy overtime as well. Like, even the round that they won the overtime in was like one that really Sentinels shouldn't have lost. It should have gone to another OT. ShahZaM probably peaked earlier than he should have done. The rest of the team gets shut down. A 5 versus 3 becomes a 3 versus 0 in no time at all. And as Walker says, GG's, you know, sorry everyone. Very sad about that one, right? That Haven, I'm sure, will haunt them, right? Because there were so many winnable situations on the map that they probably should have got over the line of. As Sentinel says, we're about to film so much content, right? What are they going to do for the next few months? Because I'm not sure, as TenZ is going to imply here in a second, what their future holds outside of, well, in the VCT in general, right? Because, of course, they're not going to go to the playoffs anymore. Their match against Cloud9 will be the last one they play. And, of course, the only thing for the rest of the season is for them, last chance qualifier and the World Championship. Now, of course, well, can they even make the LCQ based on the amount of points they have? That is looking entirely in jeopardy right now, and I'm not sure how plausible it is for them to make it. As dapr says, unable to qualify for playoffs, sorry to all the fans. And this is what TenZ says, right? Season over for us, feels very bad man indeed. Now, yeah, season over for us, whether he's just talking about the stage over for us, or whether he's talking about the season in general, because this is the current kind of point standings here in the circuit points. So the way this works is the top 2 teams from North America get to go straight to the Champions event, of course. So OpTic will certainly be one of them with the amount of points they have. The Guards still have the most points right now. But let's say a team like Evil Geniuses that currently only has 10 points manages to make the playoffs this time around of stage 2, wins the playoffs, and then goes to Masters, of course, and that's a good result there. They'll kind of overtake the Guard in points, right? So the Guard are by no means guaranteed to have the guaranteed spot through to Champions. OpTic, you know, pretty much for sure will do at this point, though, based on the way they've been playing, and of course, the massive amount of points they got from Masters 1. But outside of that, the next 8 teams, I believe, so all the way down here to NRG, are, I believe, the teams that would go to the LCQ, right? So the 2 go through automatically, and then after, well, the 8 teams that are behind them in terms of circuit points, those go to the LCQ, and then they fight out for a winner that then gets to join the North American teams at the International World Championships, right? And the thing is that Sentinels only have 30 points. And if you look at all the teams around them, you've got xNed, I mean, Cloud9 are above them anyway, but the teams below them, for example, 100 Thieves, NRG, Evil Geniuses, like, these teams, if they make the playoffs, will probably leapfrog Sentinels, and there's other teams that have the potential to do that as well, to the point where, like, it's very precarious for Sentinels. Like, I think there might be still a chance, based on the way things work out in Group A here, that they still make it through, and they can still just about scrape in to, you know, to the qualifiers, or to the last chance qualifier, and still have something to play for. But it's possible that their season is done and dusted, as well, TenZ is kind of implying, and maybe he doesn't have too much hope that even if their season isn't done and dusted, that they can do anything good anyway. ShahZaM says 0-2 versus FaZe, GG, well played to them. And as he says, I thought it was interesting statements here already. If only people knew half of what we've had to work through. I'm sorry, it's just a rough stage for us as a team. Just remember, we're real human beings, not robots playing Valorant. I wanted to share a few clips here just before we look at the overall series stats, kind of looking at some reaction initially to the play that cost them that Haven right at the end of the day in the final round. Zombs making it clear from his perspective what he said to the team, and then what they said effectively back to him. And then Sinatraa saying, you know, look, fan of Sentinels, but this is a tough time. They might not be able to do anything from here on out.
Gotta feed the family. Facts, bro.
How has he done that?
This is about to be 17-15 cent. No?
Continue to go towards babybay.
17-15 cent is my prediction.
Yeah, it's already over. No.
Wait, what'd you say?
It's already over now. It's already over.
GG. FaZe just took down Sentinels and ended their year.
Wait, Sentinels are out for the whole year? They can't even make it. Oh yeah, they can't even join last chance qualifiers, right? Because they like have 0 points or something.
Unlucky.
Probably didn't expect Sentinels to come out with
What? These guys are just doing nothing for the next 6 months. I'm pretty sure these guys will actually not scrim for the next like 8 months.
What was that comeback?
That's actually insane, bro. Like, put me on the roster for this next 8 months, bro. I'm trying to farm like hella money for free. Why aren't you playing them? The LT.
I asked them. Bro, I told Ruckus a week ago I'll play the rest of the matches.
Damn. They turned their back on you like
that? Yeah, maybe they're upset that I didn't play on 1 hour notice, like being woken up by a phone call right before their last match. I don't know. Dad said he wouldn't ask again. He's never asked me once. He hasn't messaged me like once ever.
They didn't let you play for this?
That's a big
I guess.
entry point for
Alpha.
FaZe.
We would actually won.
Just a big entry point in a lot of ways. Balla really the
Wake
only
up.
entry point. We'll see how they choose to try to.
I would have IGL'd this team to victory. I'm not even trolling. I would have done everything I could to get this win.
Highest success rate on first bloods. Obviously,
Wake up.
that can't happen anymore, but he could still get these entries.
I'm the difference maker.
Final stats are like this: 2-0 to FaZe. The fracture, as I say, 13-11. Really close fought affair, but this Haven, man, I mean, the comeback that they had, like at 6-1 at this point, 7-3 at this point, and then 7-5 at the half, for then it to go all the way to overtime. I mean, the 7-5 down, 11-5, 12-7 to lose 5 in a row there on the Haven at the end. Not something you can afford to have happen, and to lose the overtime as well. Disastrous situation. babybay was an absolute monster here on the Neon. He really liked using that, it seems, on Haven. But yeah, the overall series stats: Kanpeki, TenZ, just a rough time for Raucus, but pretty much as expected. If Zombs came in, would he have done better? That, of course, is another question mark, right? But they put up a good fight. babybay, dicey, man. These guys are always seem to show up right now when they are called upon. They still put themselves in a pretty good position. This last series of the day was TSM versus Ghost. This is actually a banger here. And honestly, like Nismo, man, this guy is out of control. Like, Ghost played so well this series. TSM had a few mistakes, most certainly. But the way that Ghost were just able to rock through them game 1, 13-9, and then Ghost won the game 2 as well, that puts them in a great position, of course. Number 1 seed over in that group at the present time. And TSM must now hope for 100 Thieves to lose tomorrow. If they do, they don't have the tiebreaker over Guard or NRG, who play each other next week, right? So TSM need to hope 100 Thieves lose, but TSM right now are certainly in hot water, and I'm not sure it's all in their own hands at the present time as to their progression to the playoffs. This was one of the rounds here actually from Gen.G over on Split. I mean, this was completely ridiculous. Like, the fact that he gets this first kill, gets the second kill as well, and gets the bomb down with he cancels the plant, kills the second guy as well here in a second. I mean, look at the clock actually. Gets this kill and bang, puts it down with 4.01 on the clock. Literally 0.01 where that bomb got planted. And incredible scenes. Clutches the 1 versus 1 as well to close out the round. As Sabrosa says, GG's 0-2 versus Ghost. Super close games. Feel like all our games are like this, he says in reply. Well played to them. Got unlucky in certain rounds. No clutches went our way. But yeah, TSM, despite looking really good in the kind of the qualifiers, they, apart from when they play 100 Thieves, where they seem to be good against, they just can't get over the line. But massive credit to Ghost Gaming. Everyone said for quite some time this team is the real deal, the force to be reckoned with, and they're certainly showing it right now. Nismo, again, what a series from him. Gen.G as well. We saw that particular moment. And they are looking like a real force as well going into the playoffs. These then are the groups, right? So, of course, we've got games still coming up today. 100 Thieves play NRG, of course. And on the other side, we have Cloud9 play Luminosity Gaming. But yeah, Ghost top seed over here. Now it's looking like TSM are having a very difficult time indeed. EG top seed in Group B. Sentinels are out, but still have a chance to disrupt Cloud9 if they want to next week, if they really care too much at that point, and if they will want to do any scrims over the next week or so. But the final games of the day, NRG 100 Thieves, that's a banger. Don't know how to call that one. Really important game actually as well, especially for NRG to win. If 100 Thieves win it, they're 3-1, they're solidified. But I mean, yeah, TSM have to hope NRG win today. Certainly possible, but 100 Thieves probably for me are favourites, especially given the whole Ethan situation there, right, where he decided to leave 100 Thieves, went to NRG. There's a lot of pressure for him to prove that he made the right decision there, but I feel like 100 Thieves should win this series if they played their game that they have done the last couple of weeks, and C9 LG over in Group B. But very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button, tell us YouTube gods, this is a good video, I'd also like you should see it as well, and I hope grow the competitive Valorant community. Then what's going to do always take care of yourselves, and I shall see you next time.